farm friends, welcome to Haven Acres. I'm Staci, and today I'm going to show you how to make 3 easy dessert cakes with one simple method. First, you need a cake mix. Then you need to take a cookie sheet with sides and grease it. You can use butter or lard or Crisco, whatever works for you. You can then take cocoa powder or flour and cover the entire area. You're doing this to make sure that the cake does not stick to the pan. In the meantime, get your cake mix all mixed up and ready to roll. You're simply going to spread the entire cake mix onto that cookie sheet. Bake it at 350 degrees until it's done. When it's done, the edges will pull away from the pan a little bit, and you can push in the center of it and it will just spring back at you. For this first cake, you want to take your favorite vanilla frosting recipe and you're simply going to add peanut butter to it. You're making a peanut butter frosting. If you don't have your own favorite recipe, you could use canned frosting if that works for you and just add peanut butter. It's not going to take long for your cake to cook on this cookie sheet because it's so thin. When it's done, just take it out of the oven and let it cool completely. Then you're going to trim off any edges that don't look great to you. You don't have to trim at all. I just wanted the cake to be a little more even in texture and size. You're going to use the same method for the cake on all 3 of these cakes. And next, you're simply cutting this cake into thirds the short way. You want 3 pieces of uniform size cake. Find a board, a tray, or a platter that your cake will fit on nicely with a little bit of room for frosting. Mine's pretty tight, but it works. The next step is to frost the top of this bottom layer. You don't have to be picky because it's going to be covered up anyhow. The main thing that you want to keep in mind is that you want the height of the cake to be consistent. So sometimes the frosting might be thicker, then other times it just needs to be as close as you can get it to the same height all the way across. Repeat with the next layer. And for the top layer, we're doing something a little fancy. We're making a chocolate ganache. I'll show you on one of the other cakes how to do that, but it's fairly easy. And then you just decorate the top however you'd like. You could totally switch out these Reese's Pieces for M&Ms if you didn't want the autumn kind of look, or you could totally use Reese's peanut butter cups also. You can make this as fancy or as simple as you'd like, but remember the whole point of this is to make it easy on yourself. It's going to wow no matter what. This next cake, in my opinion, is even easier. You're going to start with your favorite vanilla frosting recipe, and instead of using vanilla, you are going to use almond extract. Almond extract is a great accompaniment to cherry. The flavors go so well. You're going to do the same thing with the cake. You are going to layer the frosting and the cake the exact same way. Don't mind the clumps of butter in my frosting. I am using a dough hook to mix instead of a whisk because my mixer is broken. I should say the whisk attachment to my mixer is broken. It's all good. As you can see, I didn't do a great job making sure that the cake layers were uniform, so I'm just adjusting as I put them on. Again, no big deal. This is easy stuff. If you can kind of clean up your board or tray as you go, it will make life easier for you. For this Black Forest cherry cake, we are frosting the top as well as the sides. Can you see the cake through it? I promise no one's going to notice. Just get a piping bag with a star tip or whatever kind of tip you want to use. It's your cake. You do it the way you want to do it. But you want to make a nice thick border all around the top. It's going to hold in the next step. Cherry pie filling. Easy. You just buy it. All you're doing is filling in the top with the cherry pie filling. You can use as little or as much as you would like. Again, it's your cake. This particular cake, although very, very easy to make, is super rich and decadent. You are not going to need large pieces of this cake. This cake goes a long way. I used the whole can on my cake because that's the kind of girl I am, and I didn't want any extra, and I thought it was pretty perfect for the size cake. Isn't that beautiful? It's not perfect, no, but it's beautiful and so good. Believe me, you bring this cake to a holiday gathering or bring it out at dessert time, you will be the hero. Here we go with number 3, and in my opinion, the easiest of these 3 cakes. You're going to start with 1 full container of whipping cream. Get that into your mixer. Make sure your whipping cream is cold. It always whips up better that way. Next, you are going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla. Mint extract is, of course, also needed. And in total, I put in 6 teaspoons. You're going to see me here only put in a splash, but as I moved forward, I added more. So 6 teaspoons is what I needed to get it to be the flavor that I wanted. But again, it's your cake. You do you, boo. If you're into food coloring, you definitely want some green food coloring. Add enough to make it the color you'd like. However, if you are not into food coloring, you don't have to color this. It would be delicious just as white frosting. Do you see the bag of confectionery sugar sitting there? Get ready because that's going in next. What we want to do is take this whipped cream and stabilize it. So in other words, give it some more body and sweetener, of course, but we want to give it a little more body, and that's going to happen by adding the confectionery sugar to it. All in all, I put in about a cup of confectionery sugar. This is not rocket science. This is super easy. So if you put in a half a cup or a whole cup, it's not going to make or break the situation. The important part is that you have the right consistency. And you want it thick like this because not only are we going to be spreading it on the cake, we are also going to be piping some decorations with it. So it needs to be kind of stiff. And you guessed it, we are absolutely doing the same method on this cake. A layer of cake, a layer of frosting, a layer of cake, a layer of frosting, another layer of cake. But then we're zhuzhing it up with a different top. For the top layer, it makes life easier for you if you have the bottom facing up. It's nice and flat, and it just works better for frosting and making a nice even layer. Because we're putting a different top on with the chocolate ganache, we are going to frost the sides of the cake first. Now, for this quick and easy chocolate ganache, you're going to need baker's chocolate, butter, and a little bit of milk or cream. Seriously, I didn't measure. It's like roughly 2 tablespoons of butter and a splash of cream. You just don't want the chocolate to burn. That's why I added the cream. So put your butter and milk or cream in a pot over heat and melt the butter in. Then drop in 1 ounce of baking chocolate. You're going to stir this pretty much consistently until it's all melted, and keep stirring so that you get a nice smooth texture. You don't want this to boil or anything like that. You're simply just heating it so that it melts and you can get it all blended well. Whoops, mine did start to boil, but it's okay. I was right there. I saved it. You want to take it off the heat and keep stirring until it cools down thoroughly. You could also pop this into the refrigerator and have it cool down even more quickly if you're in a hurry. That's the consistency that you want in the end. This 1 ounce of chocolate and 2 tablespoons of butter with a splash of milk gives you just enough chocolate ganache to cover the top of this cake. It's perfect. Get your piping bag ready. Again, you can use any tip. I happen to use a different one this time because that's what I grabbed out of the drawer, but you totally can use any tip that you'd like. And again, you are making a border all around the top of your cake. You can decorate the top any way you'd like. However, you do want something down the middle so that you can put your mint candies. Now it's time to add your mint candies. I'm using junior mints today because we're in a junior mint kind of a budget. I would also use Andes candies that would just zhuzh it up a little bit, or some other type of mint candy would be perfect. Isn't this easy cake so beautiful? I promise you, even with imperfections, no one is going to complain. This one is light and decadent, and just a refreshing taste of the mint will make it a perfect ending to a beautiful meal or part of a holiday gathering. Now that I have your creative brains flowing, can you think of all of the different flavor combinations you could come up with for this simple, easy method of making cake? Drop them in the comments. What are some other combinations you can think of? I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Please give us a thumbs up and come back soon.